Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I am Madcapper and this is another video on Raid Shadow Legends and another in our series of I Built Them So You Don't Have To. But before we get into that, let me tell you it is also that time of the month again, and that means we will be giving away 540 gems to 5 lucky fans of the program, of the show, YouTube or Twitch at the end of the month. And this is the YouTube video where you have a chance to win. It is simple. All you need to do between now, which should be Thursday, although I'm filming it Monday, because I'm actually out of town all this week. I'm filming this as fast as I can so that I can actually get prepped first thing in the morning. I am driving all across my wonderful province again. Long story short, this is the video. I need you to take your player ID, post it in the comments down below, along with whatever comments you have on the video, ideas, thoughts, etc., and we will have three lucky YouTube subscribers that will have their accounts credited with 540 gems. So, player ID, here you go. You jump here, you got me. Then look at my 9.2 million. I'm actually I only got that because I actually put gear on champions. Amazing how that works. Now you go to info. There's the player ID. Do not worry, no hacker can do anything with this. This is just, I need it. If you don't post it, you don't get it. I just want to make this clear because last month there were a couple people who were drawn but didn't have the number, their player ID in the comment, so they actually didn't get to win the gems. And that's not on me, that's on you. Instructions are clear. That number, post it in there at the beginning, at the end, in the middle, doesn't matter. As long as it's there, I use a random picker live on Twitch on Sunday where I will pick the 3 winners. You do not have to be there, though you are more than welcome to. You do not have to be live at the Twitch stream in order to win off of this YouTube video. You just have to make sure that you comment down below. You have to be subscribed and you have to put that player ID in the video. So with that said, from now, whenever this gets posted, Thursday morning probably, till Sunday when the stream is live, you have every chance to put a comment in there right up until the moment I do the draw. So do that. 1 of 3 of you will win, and then additional 2 winners on the Sunday's Twitch stream that you do have to be there for. I will do a couple, probably marbles is just the easiest way to do it. We'll run a couple marbles races, and the winner will also, 2 winners will also get a chance for their 540 gems. So that said, let's talk about Snorting Thug, the subject of today's video. Snorting Thug is a Force Affinity Epic HP based champion of the Skinwalker faction, and here he is. Let's take a look at his stats and his kit. So he is an HP based champion. He's got 20k health, 2640, which is pretty good. Defense 1057 allows for some survivability. Speed 95 on the slow end, but or average, but something we can definitely work with. And his crit rate, crit damage 1550, 30 resist, and 15 accuracy. And what I will tell you is whenever I see that 50 crit damage, I'm a little bit leery on the amount of damage that he can do. So we're gonna find that out first, and we're gonna see whether or not he can be a damage-based champion, as always, and then we'll test him in kind of where his kit fits in. Speaking of his kit, let's take a look here. He has an increased ally accuracy in all battles by 40. Pretty decent aura nowadays. Accuracy is becoming more important in the Doom Tower, and it's in all battles, so it's definitely usable. The one problem, of course, that it's only 40. It's not a big number, but if you have a limited number of resources, this might be the champion to help push you over the edge when you're trying to push through the Doom Tower. He then has a passive that has a 30% chance of stealing 1 random buff from the attacker when hit, and occurs once per hit. Counterattacks attacker if they have no active buffs, and then this actually can be booked up to a 50% chance. His A2 is on a 4-turn cooldown and attacks 1 enemy, ignores the target's defense if they have no active buff, and steals 2 random buffs from the target. So if there's no buffs, ignores defense. If there is buffs, it's going to steal 2 buffs from the target. And then finally, his A1 attacks 1 enemy 2 times. Each hit has a 20% chance of stealing 1 random buff, and that is a 40% chance when fully booked. So let's take a look how we've built him out. I'm probably going to go 2 builds. It depends on what his damage is going to be. Like I said, anytime I see that crit damage 50% and it's not a rare, I'm very concerned about their damage output, but we're going to test it the old-fashioned way, so let's check out my build. Here is my Snorting Thug and how I've built him out. I tried to give him good HP. I probably could have pushed the HP. Well, I know I could have pushed the HP much higher, but I also wanted to make sure he still had the accuracy, and that makes it a little bit tougher for my gear. But nonetheless, we were able to get some reasonable numbers out of it. We've got 73, 385 HP, 2300 defense, speed of 192, 247 crit damage, and still 228 debuff accuracy. If he hits reasonably well and you decide that you want to go down the vein of forget his whole kit, essentially, which is stealing buff, which is an accuracy check, and let's just go with pure damage, then you could push his HP higher, you know, with an HP banner and make him just a little bit stronger that way. But I have a sneaking suspicion the better way to go is going to be with high accuracy, and we'll probably try that out afterwards, especially in the arena where 228 is probably not going to cut it. But so as far as his masteries go, we've built him out again. 4 damage. I've gone through to get the Ruthless Ambush. We'd like to get a cooldown on his A2. And of course, I went down to a Flawless Execution, and the reason was because he had that 50% crit damage, so I felt like I wasn't getting enough value out of Helm Smasher, especially both of them are single target hits. I just really felt like a Flawless Execution was a better way to go, so we just did a modicum of damage that way. And then we did some accuracy, including, and then we went to Spirit Haste, which increases the speed for each dead ally, just to give him more turns because his speed is a little bit slow. You could argue either way. Obviously, he doesn't actually land any debuffs themselves, and I don't think it's worthwhile to go down to Eagle Eye with this champion. If he was AoE on his abilities, I think then you could burn that one mastery on the T5 to get to that tier 6 Eagle Eye. But when they're both single target, it's very specific. I think you're better off going this way, or even just going defense, and instead of trying to get any support type accuracy, just push for straight gear accuracy and go defense offense. But that's up to you. This is how I've built him out. And so yeah, let's take him into the dungeon. He's Force Affinity, so we'll go into the Dragon Dungeon, do some tests, and then we'll see what he can do. So I've decided to do something a little bit different this one. We've brought in 3 champions, 2 of them being HP champions. Yes, they're all legendaries, but it gives you kind of I would say, a good idea as to the damage going on here. Obviously, our Mountain King's going to be our hardest hitting. He's actually a defense champion, but his damage is based off of HP, so I don't understand it. I think just out of fear of messing with Doom Tower or something, they've never bothered fixing it. Then we have, of course, our Rhodos, who actually has his A2, which is based off of his health, as well as his attack. But he's an attack-based champion, all single target. And then we've got at least the A1 on Sir Nick, who's an HP champion. And just to give you a quick snapshot of what we're looking at here, we're looking at 125k HP at 222 crit damage on the Mountain King. We're looking at Rhodos sitting at 5300 attack at 247 crit damage. And finally, our Sir Nick, who I've actually run him slightly different. I was using him in the tower, so he doesn't have a whole lot of crit damage. I put him in crit rate gloves. Long story short, it was just what I needed at the time. I'm not going to change him out, though. This will give a good idea. He's 78k with 168 crit damage. Let's check it out. We got to take it off of auto here. We'll go to 1 time. We'll debuff them, as I always like to do. There we go. Now we're going to use Sir Nick, his A1 here. Also has a chance to freeze. And you see 62,000, pretty good. Now we're going to take a look at this one right here. Ignores the target's defense if they have no active buffs. So that is the case here. We're going to see how much damage that thing can do. Boom, 68. So almost identical. And that's with ignored defense. So keep that in mind. If he had any buffs on him, it would have stolen the buffs instead. But not bad. And then we'll take a look at Rhodos A2 here. 79. So definitely a higher. And then, I mean, this isn't really fair. But we'll take a look at Enchanted Axe. 185. Ignores defense is an absolute monster attack. Okay, let's take a look at A1s now. I'm not upset about that number. Granted, it is a ignored defense number. So if they had buffs on them and he stole them instead, what would the damage be? We're gonna have to test that out probably in arena. But I mean, it's not awful, right? Ignore, of course, you can't take these numbers. This number here, 62, 62, because he actually killed him. It was like 185. So let's hit the next round. We'll debuff them. Now, also of note, the weaken does help his damage, but technically speaking, like if I used his A2 on Tyrell, it shouldn't matter whether or not he has that decreased defense because he's ignoring defense. So that is something to make note. So let's go Sir Nick again. We'll get kind of a similar number there. A little bit lower, 53, probably a Helm Smasher proc. We'll go with an A1 here. 20, so 40,000 maybe? Just shy of 58,000. So his A1's not really in the same realm. 120. It's fun. It's just fun bringing in Mountain King. Probably a lot less. I've got to be honest, that the A1 38, given how much more damage we poured on him, I get it. He's an epic, not a legendary, but I just don't think that that's the number you're expecting for a high damage dealer. So you can build out Snorting Thug for dealing damage, and it might be good to have that as an additional, but I really think his value is going to be in having the high accuracy and low damage, or not build for damage, but build for that high accuracy. So we're going to rebuild him out. I'm going to take him to the arena, and we're going to try to find a couple of buff teams, be it Duchess, be it Sify, that we can survive against. It's going to be a little bit tricky as always, but we're going to see what we can do and see if we can't get Snorting Thug to work in our favor for that, and see if we can't get something out of him. I've decided to go a completely different way with Snorting Thug. I want to see if we can take him and use him against Sify comp, AoE Sify Trunda comps especially. I don't know if I can do this. We're probably going to lose quite a bit, but it'll be an interesting test to see. We have built him 100% around his passive, and we've proven that he can do okay damage, but not next level damage. That A2 of stealing, if he's still alive, he can still steal the buffs. We have him in ton of action. I did exactly what I said not to, but let's take a look at this. We got 662 accuracy. We're not worrying about speed. Like I said, this is strictly to see whether or not his passive can do the job that it hopefully should be able to do when he gets hit. And it's per hit, so we're going to test it out, see what we can do. He's got some tankiness. We're going to put him in every opportunity to succeed. We're going to put him with a Mountain King. We're going to put him with a Krisk, both in shield sets. We're just going to give ourselves as much survivability as we humanly possibly can, and we'll see whether or not we can survive these waves and maybe turn the tide. I don't know if we can. We're going to find out right here. So let's take a look. His masteries, again, like I said, exactly what I said not to do. I did it. We went with Eagle Eye. I wanted to push this guy's accuracy as far as I could. I think I probably could have gotten it to 700, but I do believe that this will suffice, only because I didn't want to completely strip out champions that I need to use. It is Sunday, so we're on, it's arena day. And we kind of made him some survivability here. I wanted survivability against crit. I wanted, amount of healing from shields, right? He's going to get a bunch of shields. That's going to help every little bit. He's got a shadow heal. He's got the delay death. He's going to help his teammates to survive, because once he gets hit, I mean, that his job is done for that passive. So we are building everything around this, the 50% chance of stealing a random buff from the attacker when hit, which could be a shield, it could be an immunity. I just want to see what's going to happen here, and if this can have any use at all. I suspect this champion looks good, but is not really going to do what we need. However, there's only one way to find out. So let's take him to the arena and see if this crazy slow ass tanky-ish high accuracy build will work for us. So this is, I'm pulling out all the stops for keeping these guys alive. We've got a Krisk in a shield set. We've got a Mountain King in a shield set. Obviously, Krisk is going to put up shields. We have Snorting Thug trying to do his thing. Obviously, they're going to be a lot faster. And then we have also our Seeker at the beginning to drop those. Now, the problem is that they've got this. And this is going to be the problem with this champion. I still want to see what it's going to do, but chances are I think we're going to be in a bit of trouble. Hopefully, Morty Macabre, well, he's going to go after probably Snorting Thug here. We'll just see what happens. We'll just see what happens. Let's just let it go. Chances are she's going to be able to strip. We resisted off the one. And even better, Rotos did hit the right guy. Though I don't see a lot of buffs missing. I see nothing stolen. It doesn't look like he did anything, although he had the block buffs up. So you could argue that he did steal an immunity, maybe? Let's see if we can... Well, that's not going to work because they're all... Do that. Now we're going to try to steal 2 debuffs. We'll do from her. Boom, stolen. It was, of course, blocked on me. Nothing I can do about that. We'll take her out. Okay, so now there's no buffs, but we're gonna try to whittle her down. Remember, all these champions are so slow right now, but they're so tanky that we're actually doing it. I don't know, it's actually kind of neat. I don't know if this is enough. Like, I'm not too sure if we're seeing a good... Oh, survived through the peril. Impressive. Let's get rid of Rotos. Now we got one champion, albeit a dangerous one. Let's see if we can taunt him. Good. Weak hit. 36k on a weak hit, hey? So this is going to be ignored defense as long as it doesn't have weak hit, because 30% chance to happen every effing time. But, hey, I don't know, we survived. Here's our last saving grace for Snorting Thug. I don't feel like he does enough damage, especially as a single target nuker, to be able to be effective as a damage dealer. We showed that while it's a neat passive mechanic, it really didn't affect any change in Arena. But Faction Wars is always a sticking point for you, the players of this game, and we're going to try him in here. We're going to put him as the lead. We're going to do everything we can. We have him in a normal set, so he's got a little bit more HP than he did in the Arena, but more accuracy than he did as a damage dealer, kind of in the hybrid. He still has good 300 accuracy. And now, here's the other problem. This ability would be a heck of a lot more useful if he had to go up against that triple Valkyrie, because every time a Valkyrie would hit him, his passive would proc, and he would have a chance to take a buff away. But that isn't the case, because there's no Valkyrie in this run. So this ability here is what it's all about, that 50% chance of stealing one random buff from the attacker when hit. Once per hit, those Valkyries hit. That could have been 3. That could be a counterattack. That could be the shield. It doesn't matter. But they don't exist in this run. Skinwalkers don't have to go up against them. So I actually didn't take them into 21. I did test them. I scrapped the footage. Didn't show you anything, because he only once ever stole a buff that was stolen from his team on the boss. Whatever, it was ineffectual. So instead we're going to bring him into 20. 20 is where that third round has those 2 Rosh cards, and we're going to see if it can happen, see what's going on. We'll just let it go off the first 2 rounds, then we'll watch on the third round, we'll maybe slow it down. But I don't know, like it really is unfortunate, because I like the kit. I think the kit's neat. I think it's a unique kit that could serve purpose, but no, it just seems like we might be asking a little bit too much here from Snorting Thug to be really anything. Now, I probably should have kept Cornor at home. I didn't bring 2 though, so I mean, I was being considerate, I would say. And he didn't. That's his one job. He's got one job to do. Was take that. Didn't take it. His A1, not 100%. Single target. A1, not 100%. A3, 100%, stole 1 buff. Good job. He's done his job. He's won. He made me a liar. He's way better. All right, so let's see what's gonna happen here. I don't know if these guys. We gotta one time this thing. We gotta. Okay. Well, maybe we don't have to one time. But I don't want to allow the provoke. because we have to see if this works. See, he would have provoked too. All right, there we go. Now we're gonna let her go. Boom, stole one. Good. God, that lockdown is a pain in the ass. All right, these guys gotta attack my boy though. See, they're single target. They're never gonna attack him because he's strong affinity to them. So he's got to hope that we've got 2 weak affinity for the for magic, and we don't. I guess we have neutral affinity. We don't have any magic champions here, so maybe no. That's yeah. I mean, he can steal, but he's not. His passive isn't coming into play because he's not getting attacked because they're all single target. I mean, the Aothar might have attacked him with his A2 is random if I recall, but I mean, he's strong affinity to these two yahoos, so they're gonna try to pick on the spirit affinity champion. So it's too bad. Like this would be his one saving grace, but because they're all single target, it's those Valkyries. And thank God we don't have to, because this would have been a ridiculous. Skinwalkers would have been unbeatable, I think, with the Valkyries, but unless you had like top tier legendaries. But it's too bad. I don't think, like, look at his damage. He doubled up Steel Skull, not as much as Fane. She's also a single target. Obviously Brachus is like nearly tripling him, and Coronor because of his AoEs. It's really ineffectual. I wouldn't recommend him unless you're absolutely starved for this stage 20. My final thoughts on Snorting Thug: I want to like him. I like the idea of the kit. I like the imaginative, especially from an earlier champion. This is imaginative. It's not a standard kit. It's not just your same old on a new champion. He has as a passive that can take a random buff from the attacker, which is cool, and counterattacks if they have no active buff. That's a cool ability. But as you can see, it takes such a crazy happenstance for it to occur. Like in the arena, we never really saw him, and I only included one because every time it was the same. I fought 5 of them. I think we lost 1-4, but it had nothing to do with Snorting Thug. Yeah, he was able to steal a couple of buffs with his A2. A couple of times he stole with his passive, but it was never game changing. And I'm gonna say that it's unfortunate because this is a champion you want to like. Good HP. You could knock this guy out to 100k HP if you're late game. You could just make him an absolute annoyance to anyone with buffs. You know, whether it's Siphi, whether it's Duchess, whether it's Valkyrie, where he's gonna steal buffs. But unfortunately, the reality is implementation, it's not there. It just isn't there. It's just not good enough. And I don't recommend building him. I don't recommend him for Faction Wars. I don't recommend him anywhere. He's a Vault Guardian. Do not waste your resources on him. I will tell you this, and this I never thought I would say this, but just based on my experience with this champion in testing and all the footage I didn't include and everything I did, I think he's worse than Lich. I think Lich has that niche usability if you need that turn meter reduction in Doom Tower because you don't have anyone better or you just can't seem to get through it. And of course the Fire Knight, if you just don't have anyone and you just need it. You know, not everyone has Allure Lysandra. I get that. Lich can sneak in there and his A3 can help with that turn meter reduction along with your Cold Hearts and everyone else. So you can play your cards right and make Lich useful. I didn't like Lich because he's just like a stump on a log until his A3 comes up. But Snorting Thug might actually be worse. He's in a Skinwalker faction that needs help, and he doesn't help. Ripper's better. Who's the other one I built? I don't even remember. Flesh Terror's better. Just stay away from this champion. Where I will say, this is what I want to see, because he's nearly good. He's nearly good. He's got an aura. Bump this up to 60. I just think 40 is like silver medals in your Great Hall. Like, let's get this up to 60. Let's make it worth something. His passive needs to, and I don't even think it should steal, because steal might be too much, but at least removes buff from every opponent. When attacked, he has a 50% chance of stealing a random buff from each opponent. I think that would make him Phenomenal. Could you imagine that? Is a stall defense or a platinum defense or whatever defense, you got this guy in, he's got 100k, he's paired up with, you know, a shield champion as well, or he's wearing the shield, and every time you attack the team, he's taking a buff from every one of you, even if it's a 50% chance, because then at 50% it's not stealing a buff, it's a chance to steal a buff. So on average, math is math, he might take 2 buffs, right? 2 buffs out of all the other team. You think Siffy puts up, what, 3 of each? So there's 12 buffs out there, and he takes 2 of the 12, and they might be the same buff, so he might only get 1 out of it. I don't think that's overpowered. I don't think that's beyond the realm of expectation, but it would make a neat mechanic that could be used by players to help even out the odds against some of these top buffing champions. I think that would be better. And then this here, this one's just simple. It just needs to be more. It should be 40 bookable to 60, and I think if this was a 50% chance each, because one enemy 2 times, 50%, again, probably gonna steal at least 1 buff. Doesn't make it overpowered. And even if you're like, oh, but he's stealing too many buffs now with this whole kit, then good, just make him remove a buff like a Rosin. But I could talk about how he would be good for use early game in the Magic Potion Keep. Yes. Use them in the Magic Potion Keep early on. Do not take them past 50. 5-star. I would even use them as a 40. I think it would probably work. And then just use them for food afterwards. If they were to change where this would steal 50% chance to steal from each, or was a guarantee every time he got hit, he guaranteed he stole a buff from whoever hit him. Those are the scenarios which I think he would be cool. Or maybe if you added a provoke to his kit somewhere, that'd be cool. But as it stands now with this on paper, an amazing looking kit, has to be 100% guaranteed or 50% chance to steal from each of the opposing side. And this is fine. This one works just great. And then this one here, I think has to be a 50% chance when fully booked. Or maybe add a taunt to it so that you're forcing people to hit you and then you're stealing buffs. It wouldn't stop against the Duchess and Siffies that of course have immunity, but there's other champions who put up buffs that he could steal from, or after the immunity wears off and there's other buffs. I think it would still be a neat overall kit. I think it would be a heck of a lot better than the current implementation of it. So that's what I think. You think that my ideas would make it too overpowered? Let me know. That's it. Don't forget to leave a comment with your player ID so that you have a chance to win 540 gems. We will draw that on Sunday. And most importantly, stay safe, be kind, practice social distancing, and we will see you in the next video.